Can you hear it? It's right around the corner. Rivalry week is here, baby. And with that in mind, we have one more top 10 going into the final week of the regular season. Who comes out on top and who's struggling at the very wrong time? If you are new here, welcome into the channel. My name is Cole Thompson. I'm a radio show host based in Houston, and I talk college football daily. So if this is the type of content you enjoy, and knowing with coaching searches, bowl games, conference championships right around the corner, it seems like you do, smash that subscribe button down below. Tell me who you think deserves to be in the number one spot after Week 12's dominance. Tell your friends, your family, your sister, your brother, your mortal enemies, your best of bros about this channel. And as always, let's continue to talk college football. There were no major upsets. Nothing. No chaos. Except for a significant injury, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Still, the games at hand are basically setting up for us to have a very clear-cut indication on which four teams will make it to the Final Four. But with that in mind, who's in the top 10? As we do every single week, honorable mentions. First up, Penn State. Penn State rebounded. I did not think that they were going to be able to have a significant offensive performance, and for the most part, they didn't. Kate Trot-Allen found the end zone twice, and they didn't really throw the ball extremely well, but lo and behold, once again, that defense is stepping up at the right times. They held Gavin Winsip out of the end zone. He threw an interception. They held this rushing attack to 2.4 yards per play. Rutgers basically was obsolete from the get-go, and now you have a very clear shot of finishing off the year 10-2, which is kind of what a lot of people expected when it comes to Penn State. Next up, Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a very fun team. They're very much, in my opinion, just like Penn State. Good, but not elite in any level. Jackson Dart has been a successful story for Lane Kiffin's offense this year. 3 touchdowns all in the third quarter. Really sluggish start, though, to a game. And I'm not saying that you have to worry about that going into the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, who has a ton of other problems in Starkville, not to mention a shot of missing out on bowl eligibility. But this is a team that when you do play in the prominent bowl game, because you will either be in a New Year's Six or a New Year's Day game, you're going to have to start fast. You have a great running back in Quinshon Judkins. You have exceptional receivers. And your defense has been playing better as of late. Not elite. And yes, we can all agree the 52-point burger that was dropped on them by Georgia to a lot of teams. So won't hold that really much against them. Next up, Oregon State. I know, whatever. They're a 3-loss team. I don't care. They lost 2 games by a combined 6 total points in the fourth quarter. And the very last game, they lost by 2 points to a team that probably has already punched their ticket, at least with most spectators, to the college football playoff. They don't have a good passing attack when weather is at their dismay, but they still were able to run the ball efficiently well underneath Damian Martinez. They still were able to get inside the red zone and capitalize on points. And remember that second half. That was basically all Oregon State. You get one key stop in the first half, maybe not even that. You get a couple of big third down conversions that go your way instead of Washington's way. We're talking about you now playing for a shot at the Pac-12 title game. DJ Uiagalelei, though, 2 interceptions. It's not going to cut it. And even though Michael Penix Jr. didn't throw for 450,000 yards, he still found the end zone 3 times, and twice was through the air, and including that big pass at the end of the game to Roma Dunze. Still, I think Jonathan Smith deserves a ton of credit for what he's done this year in Corvallis. Nobody really has given the Beavers a chance ever in the Pac-12. And now in the Pac-2, maybe this will be his shot to where Power 5 dominance comes this way. Who knows, to be completely honest. Let's talk about Arizona, the team that Oregon State actually lost to. They now improve on the season to 8-3. There's a very decent shot that they'll finish up the year 9-3. They got a sound win over a very good Utah defense, and this is a testament to what Jedd Fisch's offense has been about for the last year and a half. 4 passing touchdowns. They found a way to utilize the ground game in their favor, 5 yards per play. You have 4 exceptional receivers, including Tatera McMillan, who went for over 116 yards. And Bryson Barnes, he may have thrown for 320, but the 2 in the back also led to 2 turnovers through the passing attack. They really did a nice job of making this offense one-dimensional. Only 3.2 yards per play on the ground, no rushing touchdowns. Jedd Fisch, I'm telling you, he's going to be a sleeper name. There's going to be a lot of coaching candidacies that open very soon. And with everything going on in Tucson, he may be headed out the door sooner than we expect. All right, now let's move on to our actual top 10 this week. Number 10, Louisville. Louisville's a good team. Louisville continues to find ways to win, which is positive. And now they have a shot of really controlling their own destiny when it comes to making it to the college football playoff if chaos were to occur alongside it. But Jack Plummer, 3 passing touchdowns. He had over 300 yards. They ran the football extremely well. But I kind of did mention that this was a game that you were not on trap watch alert, but definitely upset alert, because this is a very good rushing Miami attack. Mark Fletcher finished with over 126 yards. Brashad Smith, 17 yards per play. 6.1 yards per run and 3 touchdowns. Tyler Van Dyke only had 1 passing touchdown, but he also had over 300 passing yards. And even though we know what's going to happen with Florida State, you cannot get complacent, because this was a team that knew how to methodically run the football. And for you still had struggles stopping the run, letting teams get off the field on 3rd down. It's why it led to a 38-31 finish. But this is a huge testament to what we've seen from Jeff Brom in year 1. The guy goes from Purdue and was an afterthought after the Scott Satterfield hiring, comes back, and now has his team not only clear-cut in the running for an ACC title, but also in the running for maybe a college football playoff berth. There is a huge chance that if chaos occurs, we're not leaving out the ACC champion, whether or not we agree that they are worse off than maybe some 2-loss teams. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about Missouri. Missouri stays ahead of Louisville this week. I get it. They have 2 losses next to their name. They have 2 losses next to the number 1 team in the country by most people, and a LSU offense that features a Heisman Trophy quarterback and 2 potential first-round wide receivers. I don't count that as a major concern. Based off the on-field play, once again, you watch as a Missouri team led by Eli Drinkowitz is improving. You are seeing Brady Cook take that next step. This game, final score, 33-31. 1 passing touchdown, but over 300 yards. Cody Schrader, another solid day. 1 rushing touchdown, over 140 yards, 6.4 yards per play. You also were able to see Luther Burden go off. Theo Weiss had 1 catch, but it was a 77-yard screamer down the field. And defensively, you did enough. I'm not saying it was great by any means whatsoever, but you did enough. You got Graham Mertz to throw an interception. You held the rushing attack to 6.5 yards per play, but a lot of that came after contact. You didn't have another receiver go for over 100 yards. You're probably going to beat Arkansas. You're probably going to finish 10-2. And if all things go your way, you're playing in New Year's 6, which is another huge testament to a coach, because a lot of people, yours truly, thought Eli Drinkowitz was on the hot seat. And the dude actually is now looking for a contract extension, and a pretty significant one, because there might be a few teams calling around circles going, hey, is Eli available to just chat? We just want to have a conversation with him. Oh, you are open vacancy? Nah. That's not what this is about at all. 8, Florida State. I'm going to preface this right now by saying if Florida State runs the table, if Florida State finds a way to go undefeated, this list is wrong. I don't care. I'm wrong. You're wrong. It doesn't matter. Florida State will be in the Final 4. Florida State will be a college football playoff team, and they've earned it. They've absolutely earned it. And I'm not saying because of they thwarted North Alabama is why they dropped, and they were down 13-3 at one point. It's Jordan Travis. I'm not saying that Jordan Travis right now, his impact is going to derail the rest of the season, but you have to realize that as of this moment, we have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. We don't know enough about backup quarterbacks. We don't know enough about this roster to where we can justifiably say Florida State still belongs inside the top 5. Now, here's what I will say. They have an exceptional wide receiver core led by Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson. They have a talented running back led by Trey Benson. They have a good, stout defensive line that knows how to add pressure into the backfield, and they did so on multiple occasions against the Lions. This is a very good Florida State team. But you win and lose based off a quarterback play. And until we see a little bit more, until we find out more information about how this offense is going to work without Jordan Travis, when we start to see what this unit looks like when they do have to rely heavily on Tate, that's kind of where we are at this point. It's not an insult. It's just a harsh reality that we're not sure what Florida State's going to be. But on paper, I have to put them at 8. I think that right now, though, they can go as high as number 4, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. 7, Texas. Yeah, 7, Texas. You survived. And this time, it actually really wasn't survival. It was more so like a very sound performance by you and the offense. The defense was great, actually. That's kind of like the bread and butter of this game. Defensively, once again, you stepped up in a big way. And I thought it was really impressive that usually you step up in the first half and then you kind of collapse the second half. That didn't happen. You did allow over 323 passing yards to Rocco Betch, but your run defense, T'Vondre Sweat, he's making a case for being one of the best players in college football this year. 21 carries, 9 yards. You're not getting much better of a performance than that. Quinn Ewers, pretty good day overall. 2 passing touchdowns. Didn't reach 300 yards, but didn't really have to. CJ Baxter set up a couple of big-time plays down the field, one including the 42-yard field goal from Burt Auburn to eventually captivate this 10-point victory. And you go to Arlington. So continue to win, and the committee is going to think that you deserve to be ahead of Alabama. The committee is going to think that you belong in the CFP. And it's going to be hard to justifiably say you don't, especially now knowing what could be at hand with all these other conferences, especially with the 1 losses and whatnot. 6. Yeah, 6. For me, this week is Alabama. Alabama play Chattanooga. Don't really care. Jalen Milroe decided to have 3 touchdowns in the first half. He decided to run his legs around and did that pretty well. And the final score was, what was it? 66 to 13, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 60. Oh, no, 66 to 10. My apologies. That was what Auburn was supposed to do to New Mexico State. And instead, New Mexico State got paid over $1 million to come into Jordan-Hare Stadium right before Iron Bowl week and basically dishevel the entire fan base's opinion. There now feels like no shot at them actually winning this game, even though the game is in Jordan-Hare. And good for Alabama. They're playing their best football right now. In fact, you could say, even though it was Chattanooga, the fact that they jumped out to such a substantial lead where it was already 38-7 going into half, that's enough for me to say you're probably going to be a challenge for Georgia. Not elite and definitely not unbeatable, but you're going to be a challenge for Georgia. Next up, 5, Oregon. Oregon comes in at 5. I think that right now, when you look at Oregon, they're just a complete football team. They can run the football really well, headlined by Bucky Irving. They were playing exceptional defense. I get it. It was against Arizona State. Don't really care. It's a Pac-12 game. It's on the road. It's a challenge in itself. And you found a way to basically say, hey, you know, there's a Heisman Trophy candidate in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Bo, you want to end this real fast? And Bo Nix decides to have a career day where he throws for over 400 yards and 6 touchdowns all in the first half. Then comes out, dials up a few more passing plays, and unfortunately gets sacked. And then we call on Ty Thompson to close things out, where he finds the end zone once. Bo Nix is more than deserving of being a Heisman Trophy candidate. So is Jaden Daniels. So is Michael Penix, in my opinion. And at the end of the day, this really to me comes down to Daniels and Nix, how they play against Texas A&M and Oregon State. And if Nix is very clear-cut, a fan above the rest, I think that you give him the trophy. But please make no mistake, Jaden Daniels is still very deserving of this award. Bo Nix is too. No matter how you want to phrase it, both these guys have shown a testament and really a test of where they've gone from being in the SEC and the Pac-12 and then doing a 180 flip where one goes to Eugene and one goes to Baton Rouge. And they found a way to win. And they found a way to keep these teams afloat. And to be fair, LSU would probably be 4-8 this year without Jaden Daniels. And Bo Nix is the whole reason why Oregon is playing for a college football playoff spot in 2 weeks when they travel to Las Vegas. Speaking of already somebody in Las Vegas, Washington, they come in for me at number 4. They've been number 4 for a while. That has not changed. That doesn't plan on changing anytime soon, unless it's next week when I can move them up 1 spot should they be undefeated. Michael Penix Jr. did not have a Heisman caliber day, but he was clean. He didn't turn the ball over. He trusted what he had at his disposal. And when the shit got tough, he went to his number 1 target in Rome Odunze. And Odunze called game, and that's exactly what you wanted. You're going to need a stronger second half. That's just the way it is. The way Oregon's playing right now, their defense is going to catapult you and corral you into making mistakes in the first half. So you have to be able to keep that gear at all-time high going into the third and early stages of the fourth quarter if you want to win and you want to punch your ticket to the college football playoff. But I will say this, Oregon, Utah, Arizona, Oregon State are all probably going to finish ranked at some point in the CFP poll, and Washington's beaten all of them. At this point, if we are to determine a out of non-conference winner, where a team that does its job during the regular season and isn't getting the credit that it's due, you got to give it to Washington. Washington has played 4 ranked teams. They've won all 4 games in sporadic different fashions. They beat the living crap out of USC, and they're a game away from going undefeated in the regular season. And the outcome's staying alive. So, you know what? I'm going to give them a credit there because the fact that Bedlam's dying and this one's staying alive, yeah, whole different story. 3, Michigan. Michigan had some struggles. You definitely saw it in the second half where Talia Tagovailoa started to corral his way back. Big interception in the red zone for J.J. McCarthy, and they still are running the football extremely well. Their defense is playing up to par. I think that a lot of people forget that this was a Maryland team that many believed was going to at least make some noise in the Big Ten. Maybe not be a team that fought for the Big Ten East title, but certainly was going to be watching upsets unfold. And they were close. I mean, this was one game early on in the stages against Ohio State. It looked promising. Penn State, it looked promising. So they've played close. They just can't get over that hump. This is a clear-cut scare game on the road where you're starting to see where the euphoric and inertia die a little bit when you're Michigan, but they still found a way to win by over a touchdown. They still found a way to put up over 400 yards of offense. They still found a way to basically secure their spot in Indianapolis if they are to win next week. And you had a good day overall when it came to trusting what you had on the ground. 3 rushing touchdowns. Blake Corum, once again, he maybe averaged only 3.4 yards per play, but he also had, what was it? Oh, yeah, 2 scores. So you're doing something right. And you're going back home to the big house for senior day in Ohio State gear. It's going to be a must-see spectacle. Speaking of Ohio State, they come in at number 2 this week for me. Very clean-cut game when it comes to seeing where you want from Kyle McCord. Once again, you are seeing the likes of what Marvin Harrison Jr. can do when he's in open space. And to be fair, this was kind of over from the jump. I know that the score didn't say anything of that, but when you look at Minnesota's offense, it was basically obsolete. It was invisible. They never had any second or third gear. They didn't have any magic tricks up their sleeve. And it slowly but surely led to an early lead going into the halftime. And then by the third quarter, touchdown, field goal. Look at that. Now you're pulling away and then get a late score. Kyle McCord finishes with 2 touchdowns. Travion Henderson closed out his Ohio State career in Columbus, averaging 9.7 yards per play. And you held this passing attack for the Golden Gophers to under 100 yards. That was a very clean performance from Jim Knowles' defense. They're getting ready and they're geared up for what is going to be probably one of the more impressive and hopefully must-see games in the history of the game. That's what we call it. Number 1, though, Georgia, plain simple. Kirby Smart made a joke at the very beginning of his press conference saying, yeah, we might as well get the scoring out of the way now. That way we don't come back to bite ourselves in the ass. And that's exactly what happened. Jalen Wright finds his way into the end zone, and Tennessee is rocking and rolling in Rocky Top. And then Georgia decides to, lay down the law, lay down the hammer, show the world we mean business, and tell everybody we're not going to go away quietly. And more specifically, you don't want to play us. You just don't. 38-10 was the final score. 4 passing touchdowns. By the way, one of which wasn't even from Carson Beck. It was from Dylan Bell on an 18-yard pass. Carson Beck, though, 2 yards short of finishing with, I think it's now 6 consecutive games of over 300 yards. No turnovers. Kendall Milton ran the ball extremely well. Dejon Edwards was fine for the most part. You saw everybody step up in the passing attack. Marcus Rosemary-Jack-Saint had a big score. I think it was a 34-yard pass. Not to mention Dylan Bell found the end zone. Brock Bowers found the end zone. And you're realizing that at this point, it's no longer, we need to get the ball to number 19. We just need number 19 to act like he's getting the ball. That way everybody else gets open downfield. And as long as we do that, the way Carson Beck's playing, the way that our offense is rushing, the way that our defense is able to corral quarterbacks into making mistakes, good luck, Alabama. Good luck, anybody in the college football playoff. And move on over Minnesota. We're joining the party as the only other 3-peat champion. But there you go. those are my top 10 teams this week. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Michigan. Number 4, Washington. Number 5, Oregon. Number 6, Alabama. Number 7, Texas. Number 8, but this one doesn't matter if they win out, Florida State. Number 9, Missouri. And number 10, pulling up the rear, Louisville. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.